Welcome to another exciting episode of Communication Corner. I'm your host, Gail Lewis. Today, reporting live from Merrick Avenue at the Smoke Barbecue Pit. We're outside now, but we're going to go inside to talk to another one of the candidates for Assembly District 29. She is Terryl Ebony. She's running for the seat along with some other people. And today, we're here to figure out exactly what her platform is and to help the voters decide if she is the candidate of choice. So join me, Gail Lewis, as we go inside the Smoke Barbecue Pit to find out more about Assembly District 29.
My name is Terryl Ebony De Mendonca. Thank you. And I am the write-in candidate for Assembly District 29. On November 3rd, we are going to write in Terryl Ebony De Mendonca as small as we can, but legible, so that the people can see. We're going to write it in so that we send a clear message to those who think that they have control of the community. We are letting them know that we are in control. Yes. We are the taxpayers. We are their boss. We tell them what to do. They don't tell us what to do. We are the ones who will tell them who we want in office, not the other way around. And we need to make sure that in every person that we speak to, as we go out on this campaign trail, that that is one of the clearest messages that we can convey. We need to make sure that they understand that this is a new day. It is no longer where they're going to tell us. It is no longer where we're going to just sit quiet and idly by and just allow them to give us anyone, to bring anything into our community, give us any little crumbs of money that they want to give us. We want our just due. We want what belongs to us, and we have a right to it. We're not peasants in the street. We didn't come from anywhere. We took our money and bought homes, rented apartments. We are productive citizens of society, and we have a right to certain things. And the biggest right that we have is the right to choice. The biggest right that we have is the right to choice. The right that when November 3rd comes, we get to choose who we want in office. The same way we get to choose who we want. We got to choose who we want in City Hall. We get to choose who we want in Southeast Queens, District 29. And right now, it's time to make that message clear. About something. That is my biggest reason at this point, at this juncture, for running. But it's not the only reason. I have been a long-standing citizen of District 29 for 14 years. And a lot of people might say, well, I've been living here all my life. 14 years, that's a little bit of time. But in those 14 years, I've got to know the community, the residents. I've been able to accomplish certain things that some people that have been living here all their lives have not been able to accomplish. I raised my son here. I went to college. I started back going to college right here. I started my organization, which was mentioned earlier, while I was here. Developed a relationship with the Queens District Attorney's Office while I was here. Wrote a book, Losing Love, Having Faith, and Finding Hope, right here. I'm a member of Community Board 13. I participate in meetings. People can't say that they've never seen me at a meeting. You may not see me often. Why? Because there's so many different meetings. But I'm here. You can't go too many places and they say, well, I've never heard of her. There's some people, because this town is big. It's small, but it's big. So there are some people who would say that I've never heard of her. But then there are so many others that would say, yes, she's done this, she's done that. Why? Because I'm around. Participatory budgeting that came out last year and we broke ground this year, I played a very significant role in that. I was able to get a music studio that's going to be placed at IS 231 through participatory budgeting. Why? Because I decided that we need change. So I facilitated the youth committee. I rallied the troops. We went out, we got people to vote. We got people to vote, and it wasn't an election year, but we were able to get people to vote on the issues that they felt was very needed in the community. And now the result of that was a music studio in the school, because we know that they're taking out vocational training in the schools. And that's one of my biggest platforms. We have to do something about economic development, and that's a big, big title. But what does that mean? It starts on the ground level. The ground level. They've taken vocational training out of the schools, and we need to bring that back. Not everybody is going to go to college. For those that will, we're going to encourage them. But we're also going to encourage the lay people as well. And we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to also become productive citizens of society. Because you don't want to go to college doesn't mean that you should fail. Because you don't want to go to college doesn't mean that you can't make an earnest dollar. It just means that you need another avenue. It just means that maybe you haven't decided on college as yet. And we need to make sure that our people are ready. Whether it's vocational training, whether it's prepping for the city test, whatever it is, we need to make sure that they're ready, that they're prepared. Right. We don't do enough of that in our community. There are too many people sending their children outside of the district to go to school. Yep. Too many of them. I won't lie, I was one of them.
I did it.
When my son was about to go to high school, there was no high school here in Southeast Queens that did graphic design that we were comfortable with enough to send him. So he traveled an hour and a half every day to and from to go to school in Manhattan to learn graphic design. We shouldn't have to do that. He should have been able to take a bus, walk up the street, and go to a local school so that he can get his graphic and web design education. We don't have enough of that. We need more of it. I want to say this to you, and I want you guys to really think about it. You live here, and people are telling you what to do. You live here, the streets are filthy. You live here, you might get robbed, or you might be afraid to walk the streets at a certain hour. You live here, your neighbors are smoking, or your neighbors are doing things that you don't necessarily agree with. But who's doing something about it? What are we doing about it collectively as a group, as a unit? Are we educated enough to know how to effectively make the changes in the community that we need? It's one thing for us to get up and say, we want change. We want change. Rah, rah, rah. That's one thing. But it's another thing to be able to execute that change in an effective manner. And that's something that Southeast Queens has not grasped. And why? Because we don't know enough. We really don't. We don't know enough. There's so many people in this community who have PhDs, master's degree, bachelor's degree, and they know a lot about certain things. But we haven't mastered as a collective how to come together, unify, educate ourselves on that particular issue, and know how to bring it to fruition to bring about effective change. And in Albany, that's what we need. In order for us to get the things that we want for our community, there has to be someone in Albany that knows how to come locally, bring the people together, educate them on how we can do it up in Albany, how we can make the changes necessary to get the funding that we need for a community center here. Something that we are in dire need of. Who's looking at the way the capital funds are being spent? I know that I want to take a look at those books. I want to see how those capital funds are being spent and how we can possibly shift some of those funds so that we are getting the things that we need in our community. How we can collaborate with other agencies to get the things that we need in our community. Because let's be clear. One man is not an island by himself. We need help. We need support from our other agencies and from our other elected officials. I have started building those relationships with outside elected officials, not just here in Southeast Queens, but in the other boroughs. Because I recognize that becoming the next assembly person, it's a New York State position. It's not a local position. So the bills and the laws that I plan to have passed, the legislation that I plan to write is going to affect the entire New York State. A lot of our community members don't even realize that. Mm-hmm. They're just thinking locally. They're thinking about what they want and what their community, what lies in their community. And that's great, because it's my job to make sure that the community, District 29, gets what it deserves. However, I also have to be mindful that whatever I do is going to affect a greater body. And I need to make sure that everything that I do personally is done with integrity, with morals, honesty. What you see is what you get when it comes to me. We don't have that in today's politicians. I consider myself an elected official should November 3rd come and my constituents choose me, write me in as such. Why do I say elected official? Because I've been elected by the people. Again, you guys become my boss. Tell me what to do. What do you want me to fight for? Everyone keeps asking me, what's your platform? And I say, well, my platform is your platform. What is it that you want me to go up into Albany and fight for? I can tell you currently what my experience is. I can tell you what I'm good at. But I want the platform, I want you guys to make up the platform. So I wanted to spend today really hearing from you, understanding what your concerns are, trying to see what some of the solutions that you may have, so this way we can collectively build that platform. And I can confidently go out into the community and say, after listening to the constituents and the residents of District 29, these are the issues that they would like me to fight for. This is the platform that they would like me to build off of. And that's what we're going to do. I don't believe in coming in and telling you, well, I'm going to Albany and I'm going to fight for education. I'm going to Albany and I'm going to fight for real estate. I'm going to Albany and I'm going to fight for veterans. What if that's not your concern as a collective? What if you want me to go and fight for something else? Then maybe you might want me to go and fight for transportation. There may be another pressing issue in the district that you guys want me to focus on first, second, third. And that is what we have to focus on. That is what my goal is. That is what my response to the platform is. So I want to make sure that before we leave out of here, we got a whole bunch of butcher paper and markers, that we fill it up. I want you to tell me exactly what you want me to fight for up in Albany. I want you to tell me what you think some of the concerns, some of the solutions as well. So let's be clear. I don't like to just talk about concerns, and issues, because most of the time we know what the issues are. But help me to figure out what the solutions are. We have to work together. So it's not going to be a situation where you guys just keep coming to me and say, well, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have this problem. No, we're going to work together to fix it. We're going to work together to find that proper solution. And it may not happen overnight. So the one thing that I will ask is for patience. I will ask that the person that's going into that seat will need some time to develop. The person going into that seat will have to have that grace period, but will also come back into the community and keep you abreast of what's going on in Albany. And I feel that that's something that has not really been done as often as it should. There's a lot of things that are being discussed in Albany. There are a lot of different committees. There's probably like 30 committees. Do we hear about those committees? Do we hear about what's going on when they go up to Albany and come back down? Where does our input come in? We need to make sure that that happens. So when I go up to Albany, I'm going to come back down. I'm going to host a meeting, and I'm going to let you know that this is what's being discussed in Albany. Then I want to say, do you guys agree? Do you disagree? What are some of the solutions? How do you feel about it? So this way, when I go back, I know what I'm fighting for because I know what my community stands for. I know where they are. Right now, a lot of what's happening is that you go up to Albany, or you go to city council, you hear what's going on, hear the concerns, and then county says this is how you should vote. County tells you this is what you should be speaking on. I want to change that. I want to make sure that the people have a vote. The people have a say. So with that, we're going to open it up so that we have concerns and we have solutions in the district. Feel free, kind of popcorn style, but when you do speak, I just ask that you say who you are, so this way we get to know each other. We will be working very, very closely with the constituents throughout the next 2.5 months, and then hopefully a long time thereafter to make sure that a lot of these concerns and solutions are met. Fair enough? So popcorn style, anybody, shoot out some stuff. Whether it's a concern or a solution, we'll figure out which bucket to put it in. And just let me know. You guys have been living here for so long. Let me know what's been going on. What are some of the struggles that you've been having? Some of the things that you would like to see fixed? And let's put it down on paper.
I want to know where your office will be when you win.
Where my office will be when I win. Well, we are really deciphering the map momentarily to figure out what's the best location for an office. Every time you turn around, they change the district lines. So I want to make sure that it's somewhere in the middle between Rosedale and Jamaica.
I don't want to ask questions because I'm working very closely with you, so I'm just.
But you can still ask questions. You're still a resident.
Okay. There's two issues. One, the Southeast Queens has issues with flooding. Rosedale's a good example of it. Springfield Gardens. There's issues with the infrastructure for the communities. The baskets, they're old, they weren't built to hold the capacity of water that we have today. How would you put the money to actually replace and fix some of those things? Along with the flooding, for the residents in the community who have that issue, how do we help them? Because the flooding affects homes, foundations, it affects actually the street, because enough water over time creates underneath the ground problems where you have erosion of sand and dirt and all of the sinkholes that they show that have happened, not just, around the country, but that develops from flooding and things of that nature. So those are things that I have concerns about. Some of the solutions are, one, for me, when you talked about neighborhoods clean and so forth, if you walk by some of the streets and you look at the trash and garbage and soda cans and everything else that are covering it, blocking it, falling down into it, and how often has anyone seen actually, I think it's the highway that's supposed to come and remove the trash. They're supposed to pull it up.
The DEP does that.
DEP, they're supposed to remove the trash and garbage. And that doesn't happen very often. I don't think.
We have to call.
They
You have
do
to
it
go.
on block, but you have to fight to get it
We
done.
have to fight, because I called, because I want a corner house, so I have one on the side and one in the front, and you get an odor, and we had to call 311 constantly to get them to come. And when they came, because we gave the address is the front of the house, there's a catch basin in the front, they took that one, but they didn't do anything with the one right there on the side of the house.
Well, the issue that I have with that is it should be a part of a regular maintenance for a community. Why is it something that I have to call to bug you to do something that you should do on a regular basis? And if you had it on a regular basis, that wouldn't be an issue in the first place.
So one of the things that I will say to speak to your points is that is definitely a city council issue. So I would say that you should be bugging not only 311, but definitely call your city councilman and let him know exactly where those areas are. I know that Councilman Donovan Richards, he deals with, I believe it's wildcats, and he puts in money for them. So my thing is, if you're putting in the money and you're paying them, then they need to be held accountable. So if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, or I'm not sure if that's in that area, then they need to know about it. So this way that they can follow up with it. I can also speak to the flooding, and that's also something that's being done on a city council level. Donovan Richards was able to get $1.2 billion that's going to be coming into the district to fix a lot of the flooding that's taking place.
But what I want to say is within Springfield Gardens, there's, I think, 3 or 4 shelters in one area. We get a lot of those students that are transient, and they come in and they come out, and it's difficult to work with them in the schools because they have no stability, but it's also difficult for them to be in the community as well because they're doing things that are not productive in the community. So it just seems like it's concentrated, like down Rockaway, there's like 2. There's one by the DMV down by Brewer. There's like 3 or 4 within, and they're all hitting PS 52. They're hitting Old Junior High School 31. And it's very difficult to work with the parents and also to have that amount of temporary housing families in one location.
So I'm going to say this very quickly. One of the key issues that we have, I believe, is a lack of respect amongst our community and amongst our elected officials. There is no reason for shelters and youth prisons and things of that nature to come into our community without our knowledge.
Yes.
That does not happen. It should not happen. So if it is happening, that means that our elected officials are not telling us the truth or not keeping us abreast of what's going on in the community.
Right.
Or 2, that the higher ups that are making these decisions don't think highly enough of us to inform us of these decisions prior to. So we need to work on rebuilding the trust in the community, reestablishing and uniting as one so that we can go out and really demand the respect that we deserve. That's the way I'm gonna put it. We need to demand the respect that we deserve. And we have to reestablish that amongst a lot of the other elected officials, because when they're making decisions, they're not thinking about us. They are putting a lot of unwanted things in our community. And are those, items needed? Yes. But we don't have to be oversaturated with them.
Right.
And we need to fight to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we don't want to be oversaturated.
That's
the
right.
key word.
So thank you all again.
It's American Cameron.
Everyone that is here, we thank you very much for coming and supporting Terryl.
We've been inside, we've met the candidate, and now it's time for you to decide who you're going to vote for Assembly District 29. Thanks so much for joining me here on scene at the Smoke Barbecue Pit in Jamaica, Queens, as we checked out Terryl Ebony, candidate for District 29. Whatever happens in November, make sure that you get out and vote. No matter who it's for, exercise your right to vote. So for everyone here at Communication Corner, thanks so much for watching. My name is Gail Lewis. Of course, you can always hit me up on my website, www.gail-lewis.com. Of course, you can always email me as well, newday2010@yahoo.com, and find us on Facebook. Look for Communication Corner TV. As always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again real soon. Good night, everyone.